Okay, FA Cup replays are to be scrapped entirely from next season. The inevitable has happened. This has been on the cards for several years. I mean, back in the day, every round of the FA Cup had replays, including the final. The final replay went first, then the semi-finals, then the quarter-finals, and then the fifth round. Replay's gone, and it's been on the cards for a while. The way that it's been announced and it's come out and it's been reported, fans aren't happy. We know UEFA have caved to the Super League 12. The Champions League format from next season's a shocker. Can't see that being a long-term success. A lot of dead rubbers in there, and it's going to be the same clubs making it to the knockout stages that already do. So nothing's going to change for like the quarterfinals onwards, really, when it comes to the Champions League. Of course, the old UEFA Cup, which is now the Europa League, again, that's got bloated and oversized, as has the Europa Conference League, has got bloated and oversized very, very quickly. And we have to go back in time to get to where we are today. That was when the Cup Winners' Cup disappeared and was merged in with the UEFA Cup. And the Champions League had its first group stages brought in 97. And since then, and in 99 the Cup Winners' Cup, guys, since then, domestic cup competitions around Europe have been devalued. And in some countries, and in some leagues, the League Cup doesn't exist anymore because it wasn't worth playing for, because the Cup Winners' Cup ceased to exist. So, what then happened is UEFA changed the coefficient. So, you won't see a Steaua Bucharest not only making the Champions League final, but winning it. You will not see Malmo getting to a Champions League final. They did that when they lost to Nottingham Forest. You won't see Nottingham Forest win back-to-back Champions League. Won't happen. Not with the spending rules that are coming in. And they're already under the spotlight for breaking the existing spending rules that are in place. Because they've had some points deductions. Those fairy tale stories of an outsider, an underdog, going on a long run, making a European final, won't happen in today's age with the UEFA coefficient, which I've discussed in my football club history videos on many occasions. Discussed it in live streams on many occasions. But because of these changes, the fixture pile up now, for many, many years, we always hear these managers complaining of fixture congestion. I then find it funny that when they're complaining about the fixture congestion, they field weakened teams in the Cup, have a poor game against lower league opposition, end up having to have a replay, which they didn't want. So we might see some of these Premier League sides actually put out strong teams in the FA Cup when they're playing lower league opposition and actually putting a decent performance in, because the replay's gone, the jeopardy's back a little bit. But take out of this, let's fast forward back to now. So the FA Cup replays are gone from the first round through to the final. They're all gone. Qualifying rounds will keep them. Secondly, all FA Cup fixtures and ties will now be played on weekends, which is a positive because the fifth round for the last 5 years being played on weekdays, no, it was crap. Almost unwatchable. Fans, there was no atmosphere in stadiums, lots of empty seats, very noticeable, not a good look. But the FA persisted with the fifth round being played on weekdays in the evenings. Yeah, it didn't work. One caveat to this, the fourth round will have some weekday matches. The fourth round will run from the Friday through to the Wednesday this coming season and onwards as part of these FA Cup changes. The final and the semi-finals, big talking points. Obviously fans don't like the semi-finals being at Wembley. No one does, apart from the FA, because it makes the FA some money through their Club Wembley scheme. Still going to stay at Wembley. So fans, FA has proven, does not care about the fans. The final will no longer be the last game of the English League season. No. It will be played on the second last weekend of the season. Again, fans don't like this. FA don't care. They agreed this with the Premier League, which shows that the Premier League chairman of the clubs, they claim they care about the fans, and fans are integral as part of, our game and our club. They don't care. It's money. It's money. That's all it comes down to, is money. So changes that fans wanted to have, they haven't got. The Football League clubs, that's Championship down to League 2, are not happy because they were not part of these negotiations that have led to the replays being scrapped. And obviously League 1 and League 2 clubs especially don't mind the odd replay every now and then, especially if they make it to the third round, because it earns them a fair bit of money. Yeah, that's that revenue stream, that potential extra little earner for them, has gone. It also impacts the non-league clubs, who really like a good old cup run, and many a non-league club have done a giant killing over the years. I'll use Yeovil Town as the example. They have been a Football League club. They're currently going to be playing in the National League next season. They have got the most wins against Football League opposition as a non-league club. They have a record, and their record is ridiculous. Potentially, Yeovil Town could go on a nice little cup run and knock out some Football League or Premier League opposition again as a non-league club next season. Yeah, they won't get the chance of doing that via replay, which could earn that club a lot of money. And that club's gone through some hard times in recent years since being relegated from the Football League. They are on the bounce back, but they could use the money. I'm just using them as an example. Maidstone, look at their little run this season. Fantastic. They won't be doing that by replay. So there's that. But in order to soften the blow to the lower league clubs, and especially the grassroots, the Premier League has promised an extra £33 million in grassroots funding. What happened to the funding that we already have? Is it not enough? No, clearly it's not, because clubs are going bust. Facilities are not good enough at grassroots level. We've got communities that are losing their playing fields. We've got non-league clubs going bust at a rate of knots that is terrifying. I mean, Torquay have just entered administration. They were a Football League club not that long ago. They have hit hard times. So Nuneaton Borough have gone out of business. So there are a lot of concerns. The PFA have come out; they're not happy with it. Tranmere Rovers vice chairman, she's come out and said not happy with it. Basically, panned the idea. The Football League, as a whole, are not happy with how the negotiations took place and changes occurred, which is going to impact a lot of its members. And fans have blown up on social media, and guess what? I agree with all of them. Every single one of them. It's down to pure greed. It's down to the FA and UEFA at their level cowering to a handful of clubs, known as the 12 Super League clubs, of which 6 of them were English. All of whom have got massive debts, by the way. Massive debts. Revenue and profit are two different things. And Man City don't ask them about their financial records or even discuss that with their fans, because they feel like they're innocent and they're not guilty. They were found guilty by UEFA, got off on a technicality. Premier League doesn't have that same technicality of time limitation. There's a lot of charges, and of course, financial records, they've sort of not re-released 2008 to 2018. They've sort of gone a bit quiet about those financial records. Chelsea have spent £1 billion, yet somehow they're not in breach of the profit and sustainability rules. Yet Nottingham Forest and Everton have had points docked this season. You couldn't make that up. You can clearly see, even in the Premier League, there's an imbalance. So there is a lot to unpick with this. But the fact that the semi-finals remain at Wembley, the fact that the final was not the last game of the season, and the fact that the replays are gone, ironically, has the opposite effect of what the FA, I think, would intend. But it makes the FA look weak, like they caved into a handful of Premier League clubs that, seem to get away with whatever they want, really. UEFA caved into them with their restructuring of European football. FIFA haven't helped either with their expanded Club World Cup, which no one cares about, by the way. True Football fan doesn't really care about that. That's a money-making scheme for the TV networks to broadcast in North America. It has World Cup in it. It's not actually a World Cup. It's a handful of clubs that... Oh, that's getting expanded, by the way, which adds to the fixture congestion that we don't need, because UEFA back in the day made some brain-dead, short-sighted decisions to, again, stop Super League talk. They brought in group stages into the Champions League. They rebranded the UEFA Cup as the Europa League and brought in group stages in that, and they scrapped the Cup Winners' Cup. And then suddenly, a whole generation later, we get the Europa Conference League, which has a group stage. And lots of qualifying rounds as well. That never happened back in the day. Back in the day, there were no qualifying rounds for what was the European Cup, now the Champions League. What was the UEFA Cup, which is now the Europa League, and what was the Cup Winners' Cup. There were no qualifying rounds. None. Absolutely none. And now they keep expanding and bloating these competitions. Got these qualifiers. Some clubs will, because of the UEFA coefficient, be playing competitive European qualifying matches at the beginning of July. That is ridiculous. Beginning of July. Some clubs in Europe will enter the qualifying stages for the European competitions. That's where UEFA have gone wrong. They've chased the money. They've tried to keep the big clubs, handful of big clubs, on side. We all know who they are. And what it's done is alienated 99% of clubs in Europe. And what's happened here is most of the fans are pissed off. Even fans of the Premier League clubs are pissed off. Because guess what? There's more than just 20 clubs in this country. There's 92 if you class the rest of the Football League alongside the Premier League, and there's hundreds more non-league clubs. So most people are pissed off. It makes the FA look weak. It devalues the competition by not having the final on the last day of the season. The semi-finals have been devalued for years because they're played at Wembley rather than neutral grounds. So it doesn't actually suit fans. Because let's say all 4 semi-finalists are not from London. Or not even the southeast, just London. It doesn't work for fans, especially fans the further north and west you go. No, so fans this is all about money, because the FA make money out of Club Wembley. Having 3 club games at Wembley, not including playoffs, which also brings in revenue for the Football League, not including them, having 3 big club games at Wembley a year makes the FA a lot of money. The stadium got paid off years ago. So that was the whole remit of having the semi-finals at Wembley, was to help pay off the stadium debt that the FA had. That's done now. So I don't know. I'm not in favour of these changes, but it's been on the cards for a long time. I've been discussing it on the channel before with videos. I've discussed it in live stream. It makes me fall out of love with football a little bit more. Football is no longer soccer to my North American and Australian viewers, but football is no longer my favourite sport. It hasn't been for a long time. A long, long time. Now, yes, I will watch and review the semi-finals this weekend. I will. I will obviously review the 3 European finals when they are played, and the FA Cup final. Of course, I will still review as many of the Euros matches and watch as many of the Euros matches as possible. Partly for my own enjoyment, because I do like international football, and partly for you guys who keep tuning in, and for newer viewers as well. You know, I cover multiple sports, but I've done the majority of my content on football, or soccer, to the North Americans and Australian subscribers and viewers that I have. And I'm very mindful that, you know, football to an Australian or football to a North American is a completely different sport, and their sport and culture is different, but the sport that I was mad about as a kid, that I grew up watching, to me, is dying. It is killing itself by the greed at the top, and the weak governance is not helping. But there we go. That's my views on it. I'm not in favour of what the FA have agreed with the Premier League. I think the Football League are right to be annoyed, but the Football League have got its own problems. They've got their own issues, but this only benefits how does it even benefit all the Premier League clubs really financially if they're truly after the money? Doesn't. UEFA have basically caused a lot of these problems with their European competition formats, especially the Champions League, which has been well discussed and is not overly popular with a lot of fans across Europe. But there we go. I mean, this is where we're at. Anyway, place your thoughts on this in the comment section below. It's a very hot topic right now. But for me, for now, thanks for watching, and I'll have more content for you guys soon. And also, hit a like and subscribe. We've seen sudden growth on the channel again. It does help the channel. It creates traction with the algorithm, etc., and engagement and all that. And we're on the way to that 2,000 subscriber milestone, where, as a Blackburn fan, I have to wear a Burnley shirt for the day, and that's a fun little forfeit that I have. But from me, for now, thanks for watching. I'll have some more content for you soon.